So Greta Thunberg, or I've also heard her last name referred to as Thunberg, but it's Thunberg. I don't know why some people say that, but I digress. So she was at Davos, the World Economic Forum, basically the world's powerful and elite, both in government and outside of it, go there just to I don't know, talk about how much money and wealth they have and how to exploit more people in the planet to increase that. So Greta was there, telling these world leaders that they need to get their shit together, because our planet's dying and we're not taking the necessary steps that we need to address climate change. And then Steve Mnuchin was there, the Treasury Secretary, who should have been prosecuted by Kamala Harris when she was the Attorney General in California for the fraud, all of the fraud that his financial company did with regards to the subprime mortgage crisis. And then now he is Trump's Treasury Secretary. After U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin at the World Economic Forum on Tuesday dismissed youth climate activist Greta Thunberg's call for global leaders to address the climate crisis by telling the teenager to come back to him after she, quote, studies economics. Thunberg and other progressives, including AOC, hit back, calling attention to the environmental issues the secretary was trying to ignore. It doesn't take a college degree in economics to realize that our remaining 1.5 carbon budget and ongoing fossil fuel subsidies and investments don't add up, tweeted Thunberg, linking to a video of a graph by the group Carbon Brief showing the catastrophic continual rise in global emissions that has exacerbated climate change. And that's just such a ridiculous to try to come back at Greta Thunberg. Oh, you need a degree in economics to care about the the environment and the future of human life on this planet. Yeah, you need to go back to school in order to realize how important this is, and just ridiculous. This is Greta. My gap year ends in August, but it doesn't take a college degree in economics to realize that a remaining 1.5 carbon budget and ongoing fossil fuel subsidies don't add up. Either you tell us how to achieve this mitigation or explain to future generations and those already affected by the climate emergency why we should abandon our climate commitments, Thunberg added. And I would add future generations, if there are any, if we continue to exploit and destroy the earth and the natural resources that are here, then the earth will survive. The human species won't be here for many more generations if we continue on the path that we're on. And that's why Greta Thunberg is so concerned and such a vocal advocate for, tackling climate change in a very serious way. And she was right to to go to Davos and tell the world leaders to get their stuff together, get their crap together. So this is Mnuchin. Is she the chief economist? Who is she? I'm confused, said Mnuchin, after she goes and studies economics in college. And she can come back and explain that to us. It doesn't have anything to do with economics, Steve. It has to do with the future survival of life on this earth. And if you wanted to look at it from an economic perspective, then look at it from an economic perspective and be out there advocating for a Green New Deal that would create millions of jobs and would also help transition the United States to completely clean and renewable energy, creating lots of good high-paying jobs, union jobs, and potentially saving the human species. Kind of important, and just I mean, these are the type of people that we have in power. They're more, addicted to protecting and expanding their own wealth and the, wealth of the wealthy oligarchic class than they are about, addressing climate change, a literal life or death, kind of situation. If we don't take it seriously, we're going to be dead sooner than later. And if we do, we might be around, for a little bit longer. So, and this is AOC clapping back at Mnuchin, as she rightly should, because it's just a ridiculous, horrible, nonsensical take. If you don't have an economics degree like Greta, they'll mock you for not having one. If you do have one, as I do, they'll claim it's illegitimate. Haters gonna hate, and deniers will deny. They will deny logic, science, and environmental consensus in order to protect oligarchy. Precisely, they're just taking this stance of inaction or obstruction with regards to climate change and taking the climate change crisis seriously in order to protect their own class interests. And that's just so sick and disturbing that you put, the future, human species or life on Earth, I should say, in jeopardy in order to, pad your bank account or your investment portfolio. That's just so sick and just disturbing and immoral. But unfortunately, those are the type of people that are in power more oftentimes than not, or they get to those positions because they're willing to do those things. And it's, rare when you have people like AOC and Bernie Sanders and Ilhan Omar and, Rashida Tlaib and people of that ilk in, Congress or the Senate who are willing to call a spade a spade. And so kudos for AOC for pointing out how ridiculous Steve Mnuchin was for trying to say that Greta Thunberg couldn't be concerned about the climate change crisis until she gets a economics degree. Then she could come back to those D-bags at Davos and explain it to them. So pretty entertaining piece.